Using Illustrator to create the 12-point color wheel from the color theory lecture. This color wheel will be used in the final reference guide in the color theory section. So what we need to do is in Illustrator, we need to go to File New, or please check your, get used to using some of the quick key combinations. So Control N will bring up this window. And what we're going to do is our destination is print, so we will choose print off to the right. And we want a letter size page, which is 8.5 by 11. Now currently we have points set up, so I'd like you to choose inches so we can see our standard size of 8.5 by 11. This is an excellent time to name your file, so this will be called Color Wheel. We will be working in CMYK. It is for color process for print. Also note that Illustrator also knows that since we're going to a print document, to be in 4-color process, but we're also in 300 dots per inch. So we have 2 sets of color modes and numbers to remember. When we're working in the print space, we're in 4-color process, CMYK, and we use 300 dots per inch. When we're in the digital space, we use RGB, and we only need 72 dots per inch. So now that we've set up color wheel and inches, we will move down to create. Here's our current page. I have several pages set up, so please ignore those. We have the color wheel page. And the first thing that we need to do is take a look at our tools. The tools we'll be using for this particular exercise, we will be using the black arrow, which is our selection tool. We will be using the white arrow, which is our direct selection tool. And I think we've been using a double toolbox in class. You can have a singular toolbox which stacks all your tools. Here's the double. So we have our black arrow, which is the selection tool, the white arrow, which is the direct selection tool, allowing us to choose a single anchor point in a path. And another tool that we will be using will be this tool hidden behind the rectangle tool. Again, all these tools, and we've seen this in instructions in the past and tutorials, video tutorials of the past, this little white triangle in the corner of the tool indicates that there are more tools that are similar to it in that tool set, meaning this is a shape and other shapes available within that shape. If you click and hold the mouse down, you can then scroll through and choose another tool in that set. We are going to be using the ellipse tool. There are a few ways to create a perfect circle on a page, which we need to create. You can click and drag a circle on your page. And by clicking and dragging, you can create any shape you wish. Please take note that the measurement follows your mouse, so you have a width and a height. It can be difficult to get an accurate measurement by simply clicking and dragging. To get a perfect circle, you will notice that you'll get smart guides that show up. And so you can see the measurement currently says 3.2 inches by 3.2 inches. And you can also see that I have a perfect crosshair of pink lines inside my circle. So that's indicating that I have a perfect circle. Another way to get a perfect circle is to shift and click and drag. So no matter how you drag your mouse, it will always be a perfect circle. But again, you have to try to create a perfect circle by clicking and dragging. So there's one more way to use this tool, and that's simply to select the tool and click on your desktop. This will bring up this particular options box for this tool, and this will allow you to then type in 5 inches by 5 inches. Now, because we set up inches in our page, we don't have to, as in previous lessons, override the measurement with another measurement with inches by typing in IN, because we already set it up for inches. If you're seeing another measurement other than IN, that means that you didn't set the preset on that page when you created the page to inches, so you can simply override it by typing in the IN for inches. So now that we have 5 by 5 inches, we'll click OK, and we now have a perfect circle on our page. Now I have the circle tool selected. What I'm going to do is click on the black arrow. The black arrow is going to allow me to move my mouse inside this shape. You can see that when I move inside the shape, because it has, and you can see here in the bottom of the toolbox, it's filled with white with a black outline. If you move your mouse inside that white shape is selectable because you can see the little bounding box that appears on the mouse. On the outside, I'm deselecting and clicking. On the inside, you can also see now it's not selected, but if I move my mouse inside, the arrow puts a little black box on the end of it, which means you are selecting a shape, an object, and now I can move it to the center of the page. You can also see we can move this dead center to the page just by following those guides. So those smart guides are going to tell us when we're centered in the page. Now, because I need to draw some more lines on here, I'm going to have to deselect this object. So I'm going to click over to the left outside of the box. Notice that inside the box, I have a bounding box attached to my mouse, meaning I can click and drag this object, but I need to deselect it. So I'm going to move outside of the shape. My mouse no longer has that shape attached to it. I can now click to deselect. And that's how you deselect an object in Illustrator. And the same goes for InDesign as well. So the next tool we're going to use, if we scroll over here to the toolbox, this is called the line segment tool. And to use the line segment tool, if we just simply click it, we're going to click and drag a line, and you can see that it creates a perfectly straight line no matter how I drag my mouse. It will also put it at any angle I want. And if I want a perfectly straight angle, such as a 90-degree angle, I can hold Shift. Shift will allow me to drag my mouse at a perfect 90-degree angle, a 45, a 0. So it will create perfect 45-degree angles holding the Shift key. So what we're going to do in order to create our 12-point color wheel is we need a circle with 12 or 11 actually even lines at particular points in order to create 12 separate wedges inside our color wheel.